Hello again to all my food warriors and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are making a pasta alla contadina, pasta in the style of the farmer. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we last posted a video. It's been incredibly busy where we are, certainly with the start of soccer season, start of the outdoor season. It's always a very busy time, but now we have an opportunity to reconnect with the family, and with that we are making a beautifully rustic dish in order so that we could all just sit down and kind of decompress a little bit. Pasta alla contadina, pasta in the style of the farmer. This is traditionally a vegetarian dish. Are we going to make it in a vegetarian manner today? Let's just say mostly. In my version, the farmer had a pig, and with that pig they made some beautiful salumi, and so what we have here is a little bit of pancetta that we're going to be using in our version as a seasoning, not as a protein, but still we're going to get a little bit of that savoriness in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by getting some heat under our pan here. And what we're going to start to do is brown off some of our vegetables. So what we're going to be making our pasta alla contadina with, we've got onion, we've got some garlic, a couple of small zucchini, and a couple of these little baby eggplants here as well. I was in the market this week. The vegetables looked absolutely fantastic, and that's really what brought about some inspiration for this dish. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our zucchini. These have been washed. We're just going to tip and tail these. Get rid of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut these up into some bite-sized pieces. Now normally I would look towards the middle here, and if I saw some really large seed pockets, I would just yard those out, as they do tend to get a little bit spongy. But in zucchini of this size, I'm not concerned with that at all. So we're just going to cut these up. Again, fairly rustic. This is farmhouse cooking, rustic cooking at its best. Classic example of la cucina povera. There we are. And this is really a dish that you would find more so in southern Italy, between, I'd say, Calabria and Sicily. There we are. Very rural areas who did a lot with very little and really made some fantastic rustic dishes. Very, very healthy. There we are. With very few ingredients. But when you have ingredients that would come out of the garden, that freshness would make up for it, and it would certainly provide not just great nutrition, but great flavor as well. So these have been cut up into, we'll say, 1/8 of an inch slices. And what I want to do is I want to get a good bit of heat here in my pan. We're going to brown these vegetables off, so we're not going to sweat them off as we usually do. We're going to cook these over some fairly high heat with a good bit of olive oil. We want to brown these off, get a good bit of color, a good bit of caramelization. You'll notice we're not using a chili in this dish. We have someone here in the household who's got a medical condition, and unfortunately she can't have any chili peppers, which is odd because she loves them, but unfortunately due to her condition she can't have any at the moment. And so we're just going to garnish our portion with a little bit of something special, which I'll clue you into a little bit later on. So our pan is heating up. We will get, I see our spout is not cooperating. Not a problem. We'll just move this guy off to the side. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. There we are. Good bit of olive oil in the pan. We want to get this fairly hot. And then we're going to throw these zucchini in there. No salt, no pepper, not at the moment. We're going to season everything right at the end. All we want to do is just make sure we get a really good caramelization on the outside of the vegetables. So I'm going to throw these guys in. We're going to give them, we'll say, a good, I'd say 7 or 8 minutes. We'll stir them around, but we want to make sure we get a good bit of color. So I will see you in about 7 or 8 minutes. All right, we are back. It's been a good 8 or 9 minutes. Look how beautifully brown and caramelized these zucchini are. This is exactly what it is that we're looking for. We have drained these well. Still have our oil in our pan. Still nice and hot. Now we're going to get right down to our eggplant, and we can tell these eggplants are beautifully fresh. We've got a little cap here that's still beautifully vibrant green, and we want to make sure that we get this guy discarded. Now we are going to Get right into our eggplant. Kind of similar sized pieces to our zucchini. Maybe a little bit thicker. Maybe we want to go a good 1/4 inch on the eggplant. And we want to make sure that our oil is nice and hot. Eggplant tend to be a bit of a sponge. And so with hot oil, that's how we make sure that the majority of the oil stays in the frying pan and does not get soaked up by the eggplant. So we're just going to give these guys a very quick chop here. There we are. All right. So we will get our eggplant right into our pan. There we are. That's the sound that we want to hear. And again, no salt, no pepper. We will season a little bit later. There we are. So we will continue to get these guys beautifully caramelized over high heat. We're going to give this another, I'd say 9 or 10 minutes, and I will see you in that time. All right, we are back, and we are just about there. Our eggplant is beautifully brown and caramelized, so again, we're just going to let all that oil drain to one side of the pan, and we're going to give these guys a good drain before we add them right back with our zucchini, and that way all of our vegetables will be in one bowl. I'm just going to turn the heat off here. There we are. Oh. The flavor that browning these vegetables brings to this dish is absolutely undeniably Southern Italian. This is the flavor of Naples, the flavor of Calabria, the flavor of Sicily. Again, la cucina povera means you got to be a little bit more creative when you have very little. But what you have is of exceptional quality. There we are. There we are. Absolutely gorgeous. So we'll just put this off to the side for a sec, and we are going to get right to our final preparation. I have a pot of water here boiling. This is, I'm going to be cooking tonight for about, I'd say 7 to 8 people. So what I have here is about 750 grams of a good quality dried pasta. We're just going to cut a little piece of pancetta here off our slab, and then just peel off the rind that's on the outside. There we are. Now all we want to do is just cut this into strips and ultimately into little cubes, and we're going to get this sauteing in our pan. Like I said, this is not meant to be a protein, this is meant to be a seasoning. So all we want to do here is we'll cut this into little strips and then into a medium-sized dice, and this is what will be going in our pan. So I will take care of this. I will see you 2 minutes. All right, we are back. We are ready to go. Our pancetta is beautifully diced up. Now, if we don't have pancetta, we can use guanciale, we can use a little bit of coppa, a little bit of speck, a little bit of, anything that you happen to have kicking around, a little bit of capicollo. Really, this ingredient is optional, but it's one of those things that I think brings a great deal of character to the dish. And so we are going to make sure we put that in. What I have here in the pan is about 3 or 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And all I want to do, this is only about, I'd say 70 or 80 grams of pancetta. It's really not enough it's not much by weight. But really what this is going to do is it's going to render down a little bit of that fat. Is going to melt into the sauce, make it very, very savory. And we're going to have these beautiful little crispy nuggets as we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some of our other vegetables ready to go. We've got here 1 large white onion. And what we're going to do is just cut this up in a medium dice. There we are. And just cut it up, again, fairly coarsely. This is a rustic preparation. We don't want to be cutting anything up too fine. And we've got our second onion here, same thing. And there we are. Now we've got here a couple of cloves of garlic as well. Got 3 cloves of garlic. All we're going to do with this is we're going to give this a quick crush, and we're going to cut this up fine. Because this is going to sweat down with the onions, the garlic will get very, very mellow, and we'll lose some of that bite. And there we are. So these are just rolling along. We're going to give these guys about another 2 minutes or so just to get a little bit more color on this pancetta. We want this a little bit more golden, and then we're going to add in our onions. So I will see you in about 2 minutes time. All right, it's been about a minute or so. We are just going to throw in our onions and our garlic. Our pancetta's gotten a little bit of color, which is exactly what we want. And we've started to render off some of that excess fat, which will be a beautiful flavoring and a beautiful addition to this dish. So all we want to do now is just sweat these onions down. So what we're going to do is add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Just a pinch of salt. Remember, we've got some salt from that pancetta as well. And just a little bit of freshly cracked black pepper. There we are. And we are going to let this sweat down. While this is sweating away, we're going to get 1 jar, that's 1 28-ounce can, I should say, of a good quality plum tomato in our bowl. All we want to do here is just dump the contents into our bowl. There we are. Be as delicate as we can. Make sure that we get everything into our bowl. There we are. There we are. We'll scrape that lid off as well. And just to make sure we have it all, give this a little rinse. We don't want to leave any of this behind. There we are. And now we are going to use our impeccably clean hands, get right in there, and very gently give these guys a crush. If we're too aggressive with that, we're going to end up wearing half of it. So all we want to do is just crush these tomatoes between our hands, between our fingers. We want to leave a little bit of texture in there, but we want to crush these. There we are. Absolutely fantastic. There we are. Now this will be the base that will bring our sauce together. And there we are. So I'm just going to give my hands a quick wash. We're going to stir our onions. And we will start to bring our sauce together. There we are. So our onions are starting to soften beautifully, beautifully translucent. Oh, the smell is absolutely fantastic. This is what we're looking for. So now what we're going to do, simply take our tomatoes and just pour them right in there. We want to make sure we scrape our bowl down. Making sure that we get absolutely all of that. There we are. Right into our dish here, and we are going to let this cook down. Now, luckily for us, as this is a pasta alla contadina, the farmer that we are modeling this dish after also makes wine, and so we've got about a 5-ounce glass of a dry white wine. This is a Pinot Grigio that we're going to add to this as well. This is going to give a good bit of acidity, good bit of fruitiness, and all of that alcohol will evaporate away, so not to worry. If we're thinking about feeding the kiddos, this is perfectly safe for that application as well. This is a dish for all ages. So what we're going to do is we are going to give this about 7 or 8 minutes or so, just to start to reduce down. I'm going to salt my water as it is just about coming up to the boil. We're going to give this a good couple of pinches of salt here. We want to salt this fairly aggressively. We're going to bring that up to the boil, throw in our pasta, and then this should all be coming together at roughly the same time. So I will see you in about 10 minutes time. We are back, our pasta is boiling. We're just going to give our sauce a quick check here. It is thickening up beautifully. So now we're just going to give this a quick check for seasoning. We are almost there. And then we are going to add in our final ingredients. And so let's just give this. That's nice. That is nice. It needs a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and that's it. And then we are going to add in our fried vegetables. We have our zucchini here and our eggplant. Oh, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. We're just going to turn the heat down here and just let this bubble away. Oh, look at that. That is a thing of beauty. Let me tell you, if I was out in the fields working all day and I came home to this, I would not be disappointed at all. So we are just going to let this bubble away. The last thing that we're going to add is a little bit of fresh basil here. So we're just going to run our knife through this, again, very, very coarsely. If I had this from the garden, I might even just rip this in with my hands. We just want to give this There we are. Absolutely beautiful. So we will just get this into our pan as well. All right. And as we always say, we know our knife is sharp when after we've cut our basil, there isn't this big green patch on our cutting board. All of that flavor, all of that chlorophyll goes right into our sauce, and this is absolutely just stellar. I wish you could smell this. Again, couldn't be simpler. Handful of ingredients, prepared simply with a little bit of love and care and a little bit of technique. And this is what we want. Absolutely gorgeous. So we are just going to let our pasta finish cooking. We will throw our noodles into our sauce, give it a quick stir. As we always do, we want our noodles to finish cooking in our sauce. That way they get to absorb the liquid from the sauce into the noodle. The surface starch from the noodle will thicken the sauce, and that's exactly the finish that we want. So we're going to give this another couple of minutes, and I will see you in 2. We are back, and we are going right to the plate now. So our noodles are cooked, beautifully al dente. We're just going to shut the heat off here. We're going to give these guys a quick strain. and we're going to get them right into our sauce. Just going to raise the heat here a little bit on our sauce so that it is ready to receive the noodles. There we are. There we are. Make sure we drain the excess water, and we just throw these guys right in. There we are. No noodle left behind. Love it. So we are going to give these guys a beautiful stir. Look at this. Look at the color. Absolutely spectacular. There we are. And we want to get these all coated and just give these guys a good 30-second finish right in our pan before we go to the plate. And like I said, they will soak in the excess liquid from the sauce. That surface starch will continue to thicken it and give it that mouthfeel where you know it was finished in the pan, it was done properly every step of the way. We respected our ingredients. We respected the recipe. We respected tradition. And we shall be rewarded. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. There we are. We're going to cut the heat. We're done. Right to the bowl. And let us get all this needs is a nice crusty piece of bread and a glass of wine. Not for my players, a glass of milk, but for the parents out there, absolutely nice glass of wine and enjoy. Look at that. Now, we're not quite done yet. We have a very special condiment here. I'm telling you, I made this before we started filming. These are some chili peppers. Oh, and some olive oil. I've been staring at these on the counter while we were cooking, and I haven't stopped sweating since, just in the anticipation of what these things are going to do to this pasta. These are absolutely fantastic, but they are nuclear, positively nuclear hot. And so what we're going to do, since we have one of our dining guests who can't have any spice with their pasta, Coach Joe says, you know what, I'll have some for you. And literally all we're going to do, a couple of these little espresso spoons, and that's it. This will be more than just the smell of this. I cannot stop sweating just smelling this stuff. It is absolutely phenomenal. There we are. Oh, and now we've got our cheese. This is a beautiful pecorino romano, as is traditional in southern Italy, as we say, let it snow. And then we're going to give this a quick toss. And we are going to go in for a very much anticipated first bite. Look at that. I want to make sure we get some of those vegetables as well. I have no words. Absolutely fantastic. Depth of flavor, sweetness from the vegetables. Just an absolutely phenomenal dish. This is the taste of summer, fresh out of the garden. This would be absolutely fantastic. Pasta alla Contadina, do try it. I think this will become one of your favorites and certainly one of your go-to meals any time of the week. Great for a crowd, great for the family. As always, this is Coach Joe saying, do like and subscribe if you find the content useful. Do share it, as this is exactly what this channel is all about. And I will see you on the next one.